So, hi, I'm Noaksey, and this is Tom from Coatsink. Hi Tom, thank you very much for your time. It's the first day of EGX, and you can probably hear in the background that we're currently here. I've got a few questions for you regarding the beginning of Coatsink, where you're looking to be in the next 5 to 10 years, what you do on a day-to-day in the office, sort of workflow stuff, and some of the questions near the end, okay?
Sure.
So, please tell me a bit about Coatsink's beginning.
So we started late 2009, myself and a long-time friend and business partner Paul started the company with a view to doing mobile games at first, because that was what was hot at the time. So we made a game called Pinch for iOS in early 2010, and that was very well critically received and led to a lot more funding and stuff. So we reformed as a limited company in 2011, and then started working on PC games and console stuff, and now more recently VR.
Excellent. So, in regards to your current team, so what was it like for you and how people sort of reacted to your games, moving back to when you consider the very first time I saw one of your games was actually Chip, which I believe was like a mobile strategy game.
Yeah.
That was one of your first titles I saw, and then it was very closely followed by Shoot.
Yeah.
So what was your sort of response like, and what was the fan base like for you at that time?
Sure, yeah. Well, it's the fan base was still small, but like big for us at the time. So we were like a 6-man studio. So Chip was originally designed as a mobile game. We ended up releasing it on Steam first, and it's still on Steam first now. It was, like you said, it's a puzzle kind of strategy game. It sort of started slowly, and then it's grown quite more popular now. It's got a pretty strong forum base and a lot of people interested, a lot of high scorers getting angry with each other. But yeah, it was kind of a little bit of a surprise for us, because it was a very small project. Because we'd actually started work on some PlayStation stuff at that time. We thought we'd put it out and see what happens, and it did quite well. And since then we've been, like I said, just working on Shoe and Superglad, which are console games, and then more recently, like I said, the VR stuff.
Excellent. Now, one of your VR games you've brought to the show, I believe, is Esper. The first time I actually saw that was in Beardsmore, an event called Gamesbridge, where you kind of use like a VR system and a touchpad to control telepathically items.
Yeah.
So what was the idea around that?
Yeah, so we originally designed it for Gear VR, which is the Oculus headset that works with Samsung phones. And that has a touchpad on the side of it, so we wanted to design games from the ground up for VR. So we thought, okay, what's going to work with this system? And with the touch on the side of your head and having limited control, we thought, okay, well, telekinesis works, and we can build kind of a narrative story-based game around that, and just make the very most that we can of the mobile hardware, and push it to the limit. And it paid off really well. It got amazing reviews. A lot of people seem to think it's their favourite VR game, so it's cool.
Well, it definitely makes the VR user-friendly. I mean, when I first put on the device and started using it, I myself felt myself to be one of the X-Men, like Cyclops or Xavier, with the ability to touch on the side of your head, controlling stuff, throwing things across the room, being as childish as you want, but then being able to actually pick it up and continue with the puzzles that because it is essentially a puzzle game as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
One of the very interesting things about it as well is the narrative. I very much like the narrator and the voiceover of the character within. Was that, I know it's a really weird question, was that inspired by GLaDOS maybe?
It definitely is, like, that was one of the inspirations, but he's kind of more, I would say more inspired by Cave Johnson.
Yes. Yeah, with the lemons.
Yeah, exactly. And also, Stanley Parable inspirations and stuff like that there. So, it's first-person puzzle game. We wanted the gameplay to be strong within the limited framework that we had to work in.
Yeah.
We definitely wanted to go for quality over quantity, so the two big hooks, I guess, in there is the puzzle gameplay, and also the narrator and the story that's told to you in that room.
I mean, I think I recently saw a news article of some quite famous people that you've got to voice a game.
Yeah.
Are you able to talk about that? Or?
Not yet, but I could soon, very soon. Yeah.
So stay tuned on that one.
Yeah.
Excellent. And with regards to like the workflow in your day-to-day, a lot of indie devs, when I speak to them, when they look to start their own development house, don't really know the very like structural importance of the business. So they don't know what to start with, where to go.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you had any tips that you're willing to sort of share with those people to help them on their way.
Yeah. Well, aside from the obvious need for very talented coders and artists, I would say you definitely need someone with a business head on to just keep the money coming in, keep the business ticking over, and I would say you also need a project manager, whether that is this person as well, but definitely you need a project manager to ensure that the development ticks over at a pace that's required by the business. So all of those things need to sync up if you're going to be successful in the long run, otherwise you run out of money, run out of resources, everybody gets fed up with not making progress.
Now, a lot of the developers I've spoken to kind of favour softwares to kind of assist them in that project management and the sort of workflow management.
Yeah.
Is there any that sort of that you use or that you have used that you would recommend?
Yeah, sure. So Trello is quite good for just kind of like a blackboard, a digital blackboard kind of system. Redmine is very good for QA and bug reporting and resolution. And standard project management methodologies like Sprint are very useful as well. Like we try and follow Sprint quite closely, and that's kind of led us to kind of going down the same line as Valve do with double weekly meetings on Monday and a Friday.
So when you sit down with your team and you're sort of projecting and you're looking at, do you do it per department, or you all in one big huddle, where you all kind of get really close together and talk it over? What do you do?
Yeah, well, because we've got like multiple projects on at once, we just get the groups of those the teams that are working on each of those projects together, and they will pretty much just pop in a room, an empty room somewhere, whatever they can find, and just talk through issues, progress, what experiments they've been having with gameplay and art and sound and stuff like that week, what's gone well, what hasn't, and just kind of like so everybody's then on the same page for the next week.
Excellent. I've got a final couple of questions for you. Don't feel inclined to answer them, but it's just out of interest. So, has there been any sort of development team or game title that's at this show right now that's piqued your interest?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm a big fan of checking out the indie stuff at these shows because I think it's always a little bit more interesting than just going to play in a big game that is going to be out in a month anyway. So there's tons of stuff in the red zone. Pretty much everything there is worth playing. Everything from obviously stuff like Gang Beasts, Mushroom 11, Unbox by Prospect Games, and Sub-Level Zero by Sigtrap, loads of cool VR stuff around.
I did notice there's a lot of VR in this particular EGX. Because last time I came to EGX, there was literally like two VR Ocular Rifts in the whole event. Yeah. Now we've got a Mordota logo, we've got the new Sony one, the Valve one as well is apparently here. Are they the same one? I'm not sure. So it's very interesting to see the style of game design moving towards virtual reality.
Yeah.
Do you think that was naturally going to happen, or do you think that's out of preference, or what do you think that is?
I think it's kind of like intrigue at the moment from some developers. I think that there probably will be a little bit of a rush to get stuff, content put out there, just to test and experiment with it. But I think that the interest levels are growing as people are figuring out what can be done in VR.
Yeah.
I think they will continue to grow as things develop. I think we're going to see, like, in virtual reality's development over the next 10 years, we're going to see what we did with the first consoles 20 years ago.
Yeah. I kind of like to look back over virtual reality because I remember when virtual reality first came out. And it was all triangles, spherical things, and you had to be confined in this little pod with a headset on that you could roll. and you had one glove. And not seeing that now, but seeing the kind of things that people can do with virtual reality is kind of mind-blowing, because I can remember a time when it was nothing like that. It was kind of like the Virtual Boy, but a little bit better. So it's really interesting. I'm very keen to see what VR what happens next. The last question for you, in relation to like up and coming indie developers. Do you have any advice for any aspiring indie developers for them to get going, basically?
Yeah, sure. Well, say you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with, absolutely. And even if you're a solo developer, that goes for contractors you're working with, publishing partners and everything. But if you're a group of developers, obviously you just want really talented, egoless people. And kind of, I would say, ensure early on that you get the structure right. So you get your coders and your artists, of course, but you also get that business person, that project manager in there to make sure that you deliver what you're promising to people, because it's very easy to lose track of money and time in those early days.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Tom, for your time today.
My pleasure.
So this again is Tom from Coatsink. And check out his games. I've got some upcoming content regarding them soon. So thank you once again for spending some time with me today, and until the next time.